What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So today we're going to take a look at Maine. We're going to take a look at the Senate race, and I want to do something a little bit different. Right now, you're hearing a lot of this talk with Graham Platner and what he did and the text messages and the women that are coming out and saying that he wasn't a good boyfriend and all this stuff. I want to take a look at what Maine voters are saying about this situation, because that's what matters. What I'm seeing now is you have a lot of people putting their opinion in when it comes to this situation, saying that Graham Platner should drop out of the race or he should stay in the race. But a lot of these people, me included, were outside of Maine. So what do the voters think? And that's what I want to focus on in this video. And so we're going to take a look at a few clips where people in Maine are speaking out about this situation. So that is what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, you guys can do me a favor. Please like the video. And if you're watching this video and you want to see more content like this, please consider subscribing to the channel. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first clip. This is CNN. They're going to be talking to some of the Maine voters, and then they'll be adding a little bit more information about the current situation with Graham Platner. Here we go.
Either get it all out there or shut up. One of the two.
For many Maine Democratic voters we spoke with, they said they're frustrated with Democratic Senate candidate Graham Platner, who they feel could give them their best shot at defeating longtime Republican Senator Susan Collins and help pave the way for Democrats to retake control of the Senate. Are you considering holding your breath and voting for him?
I got until Tuesday to decide, but I'm pretty sure I'll vote for him. I don't think a lot of this crap is anybody else's business.
For some Democrats, they're willing to look past the interpersonal stories.
I'm not really interested in the guy's foibles. You know, I'm interested in his vision and what he has to say. And I love what he has to say. So, yeah, it's been definitely difficult because everybody is piling on this guy.
But others did not buy Platner's tattoo explanation.
He's an intelligent man. Of course he knew about it. I don't blame him for denying it, but
that's still not enough not to vote for him. You're still going to vote for him, likely.
I'm going to vote for him, yeah, but I don't like it. I'm not in favor of all that.
And so you see some of these Maine voters, they're looking at the situation. They're saying, yes, he shouldn't have done this or he shouldn't have done that, but I'm still going to vote for him.
Some, the drip, drip, drip has left voters confused.
But I don't know if it's misinformation or disinformation. Right? Like, I don't know. Do any of us really know what's going to be or what kind of character he has? Don't know. Unproven. Yeah. Unproven. So is it the devil that we have or the devil we know or the devil that we don't know yet?
According to a pair of recent polls conducted before the latest allegations, a head-to-head matchup between Platner and Senator Collins appears competitive, one with no clear leader and the other showing Platner with an advantage. While Platner is the clear favorite to win the Democratic nomination on Tuesday, another high-profile candidate's name is still on the ballot. Governor Janet Mills suspended her campaign back in April, but a source now tells CNN she's been getting encouragement to re-enter the primary. Beth Dindis, a Mills supporter from the start, thinks it's likely too late.
I think that ultimately, unfortunately, we're going to lose this race again. And we're going to have 6 more years of Susan Collins, who has let down the people of Maine time after time.
Danny Freeman joins us now from Portland. So other than a post on social media reminding voters she's still on the ballot, has there been any sign that Governor Mills is going to resume campaigning?
Yeah, Anderson, as of this point, no. But again, a source close to the governor explicitly said that many people have been reaching out, encouraging to her to more formally restart her campaigning. But Anderson, the primary is just a few days away. And as you saw at the top, Platner has not stopped campaigning, actually sounding defiant in Bar Harbor this evening. And the other problem is as you heard from our piece, even many of those Democrats who are frustrated with Platner in the state still plan on voting for him.
And what I'll be interested to see on election night is I want to see how many voters in Maine vote for Mills, because we could see a situation where you have 20% or 30% of voters voting for Mills in protest of Platner. Okay, so we're going to have to see how that plays out. If we see a situation where Mills does get a lot of votes, then that's going to raise questions about the future when it comes to Platner. And will these Democrats go on to support Platner in the general election? So that's something else that we'll be taking a look at. Now, let me show you another clip of Maine voters. Here we go.
Well, I think candidly, the Democratic Party's come up short in a lot of ways in terms of like whitewashing our candidates and being so morally elitist and kind of entitled at times. We have to be willing to get dirty.
His baggage is nowhere near their baggage. We're talking about people that are felons and people that take bribes.
I really kind of think that we all have skeletons in our closet and we've all made mistakes, especially when we're younger.
And that was really a refrain we heard time and time again, this kind of redemption arc. We can, have faith and forgiveness, given that he might have changed his ways or improved his life.
And so are voters in Maine willing to overlook some of the stuff that's going on with Graham Platner? Now, with the tattoo and with the Reddit post, the stuff that happened previously, you saw Maine voters, at least in the polling, showing that they still supported Graham Platner. And so will this latest tech scandal, will this change things? Let's take a look at some more voters in Maine.
Does he have a problematic past? Yes, but I would rather have a redemption story than somebody telling you how wonderful they are, how much research they do, and yet they still make the wrong decision for the people of Maine.
Would I date him? No, but it does play into his character, but we're not looking for perfection. We are where we are. We have a Senate that's controlled by the Republicans who are not holding this president in check, and that is a higher priority.
And that last comment, that's something I think we're going to hear more and more of as we get closer to the general election. You have people that are feeling that right now the current administration can do whatever they want. They can go to war, they can do whatever they want, and they don't have anyone checking them. And so you're going to have some voters, not even just in Maine, you're going to have some voters that are going to overlook certain things because they're going to say, you know what, we need to have balanced government. We need to have Democrats controlling the House or even Democrats controlling the Senate so they can check the president on certain issues. Because you have people, Democrats, Republicans, independents, that are looking at some of the stuff that's going on right now, looking at this war in Iran and saying, how did this happen? How did we get here? Well, we got here because you don't have Congress checking the president. Because remember, the president can go into these other countries and, start conflicts. I think he has, 60 days where he can be in another country. But Congress needs to weigh in because Congress carries the purse. They carry the money. So you're still going to have voters that are going to look at this and are going to say, we need change. We need Congress to be able to check the president because that is just not going on right now. And if that means that we need to vote for people whose character might be in question, then we're going to vote for those people because we want that change. And so what I'm going to be interested to see in the very near future, and I'm sure they're working on polls right now, I want to see what the polling is showing us because that is going to really tell the tale. So we have the primary that's coming up. We'll have to see how that plays out when it comes to Mills. How many votes will Mills get? What percentage are we looking at there? And that could be an indicator. And then also when the polls come out, I want to see what people are saying. We're looking at Graham Platner, just recent polls before this whole situation started. Graham Platner was 8 points ahead, 9 points ahead. And so with upcoming polling, what are we going to see? Are we going to see that the race is tightening? We already saw one internal poll, and I did a video, I talked about that, where we saw it tighten just a little bit. But as more polling comes out, will we see the same thing? And that will also add pressure. If we start seeing polling where you have Collins ahead now, well, guess what? You're going to have the Democratic Party really looking at this and saying, hey, we need to make a decision when it comes to this. I think they have until July to make a decision on Graham Platner, but I think Graham Platner actually has to drop out. So there might be more pressure for him to drop out. We'll have to see if that's the case. But we have to get back to this. This is all about Maine voters and how Maine voters feel. And you saw with the clips that I showed you, you have people in Maine that are still going to support Graham Platner, even though they don't like some of the stuff that's coming out. And so now I want to pass it off to you. What do you think is going to happen in Maine? Do you think Graham Platner will stay in? Do you think Graham Platner will actually win in November? Let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more. And remember, stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye. So that's all we have for this video. Make sure if you guys want to send me an email, you can do that, david@thetecshow.com. Like the video, subscribe for more, and check out these videos over here for some more great content. Talk to you later. Bye.